Saturday night, Clemson goes down to Tallahassee to play Florida State at 7:30. I believe it's on ABC. Check your local listings. But it's going to be a really interesting game. Before I dive into that, I'm Brian Knight. I am not Bobby Durkins, and this is the channel Not Bobby Durkins because I'm not Bobby Durkins here. So if you're new here, most likely you are, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Pass along to anyone who likes to talk Clemson football or just college football, or they just hate Bobby Durkins. I don't know. So Florida State is 4-2. Clemson is 6-0. Florida State, oddly enough, has lost 2 weeks in a row to two teams that Clemson has beat 2 weeks in a row. Wake Forest losing that game and then losing to NC State. Quite honestly, I really thought that Florida State would definitely win in Raleigh against the Wolfpack. I was surprised that they lost, but hey, things happen. So Clemson, they're number 4 in the country. I know polls this time of year really doesn't matter, but if you're a football junkie like me, you enjoy looking at the polls and checking out, you know, really where some people, how crazy some people are voting for certain teams. But Clemson is definitely growing. Check out my video I did yesterday where I talked about the state of Clemson football. It's a mid-season review, talking about the good things that's happened. And the word that I really made as the base for the video is growth. Clemson has experienced a lot of growth in a lot of different areas, from the quarterback, the O-line, missing 3 out of the 4 secondary members for very important games and still making the adjustments and finding a way to win. That's a lot of growth there. Florida State, on the other hand, we know what they've been going through for the past, 5 years. It really hasn't been good. And so it seems like Norvell is starting to turn the corner, and we'll just dive right into that. Jordan Travis had an up-and-down season last year. But this year he's done pretty well. I know he's had some moments here and there, but overall he's done well. Do understand that on both sides of the ball, Florida State returns around 7 or 8 players on each side of the ball. Johnny Wilson, the Arizona State transfer, he's 6'7" wide receiver. I really like watching the guy play. It's really fun to see somebody that big, that athletic, because let's just be honest with ourselves. Most people who's like 6'3" and over just kind of lumber around. This guy doesn't. He's very, very athletic, and it's really cool to watch him play. Potential injuries. And I'm going to rant about injuries and how the media is absolutely terrible about reporting. It's just lazy journalism. But I have this thing. I don't know if y'all have ever heard about it. It's called Google. I know. And I went and searched Florida State Injury Report 2022. And then I searched Florida State Clemson Injury 2022. And you know what I found out? I probably didn't find out every little thing. If you're a Florida State fan here and you're watching this, you know your team better than I do. In the comments section, leave some things I don't know about, maybe some of the injuries that's going on. So, but here's the injuries that I did find out. Florida State's starting running back, Trayshawn Ward. There's a great chance he's not playing against Clemson. He got injured in the NC State game, so that's a big deal. He is a sophomore, but he's very explosive. Ja'Kai Douglas, if I'm pronouncing that name wrong, forgive me. But Douglas is an extremely talented athlete, plays wide out, plays a lot of different, he's one of those explosive players. He most likely will be playing against us. Also, one of the top players on their defense, Fabian Lovett, he's been out since the LSU game. I did not see that he was going to be playing against Clemson. I could be wrong there, but I didn't see that he was coming back. So I don't know exactly what the injury is, but that's where we're at on that side. Now, Clemson for the Wake Forest and NC State game was missing 3 out of their 4 secondary members. So just to pause there for a second, when I was looking up the injuries for this game and I was looking over the matchup, someone said that Clemson's defense looked really ugly against Wake Forest. Their secondary, they actually said their secondary looked ugly. Hey, Sherlock, it's because they were missing 75% of their secondary. Now, I hope journalism and sports writing is not your day job. I hope that you're kind of like me. I work remote, and when I get a chance, I make a video. So I'm not paid to do this. I do this because I enjoy it. You, if you're being paid to be a sports writer, and you didn't do your due diligence to find out that they were missing 3/4 of their secondary when they played Wake Forest and NC State, you should be fired. Because that's poor, lazy journalism. All right, I'm going to try to get off of that. But they were missing 3 out of 4 of their secondary players, and then some of the guys who were stepping up and taking their spots were even getting injured, like Mickens. Mickens ended up going into the game. He got hurt. We ended up... now, there's someone else that just totally slipped my mind who ended up getting hurt in the game. But supposedly... for Clemson this week, Clemson will be getting back Sheridan Jones, which is a cornerback. Makuba will be playing. I think Malcolm Green is basically done for the year. I'm hearing rumors of that, but no one really says anything unless I missed it. Brian Brissy will be back. He's been off the field for 2 weeks due to a kidney infection. And then, of course, XT Xavier Thomas will be back playing this week. So Clemson's actually bringing pretty much a full defense back out. On the offensive side of the ball, right off the top of my head, Kobe Pace most likely won't play the game, though he's been really the running back number 3 so far this season. Of course, Shipley and Moffa have been carrying the load. So right now, let's kind of go over some of the highlights as well for this game. As I said, 7:30. Our local listings has ABC, Eastern Standard. So if you want to check out the game, you don't want to miss it. You want to get dinner out of the way. You want to get anything, your honey-do list out of the way. That's the time of kickoff. What are we looking at on Clemson's side, and why are they only a 3.5-point favorite according to Vegas? I'll tell you why. Well, first of all, Florida State, as I said, they've lost 2 games in a row, and that was Wake Forest and NC State back to back. So 1 week Clemson plays Wake Forest, and the next week Florida State plays Wake Forest and they lose. 1 week Clemson plays NC State, wins. The next week Florida State plays NC State. They lose, only by a couple of points. I really thought they were going to win that ball game. So I'm going to tell some of my more inexperienced football viewers this fun little fact. Just because Clemson beat the 2 teams who beat Florida State does not mean that Clemson's a lock for this game. I know they're number 4, and no rankings at this time doesn't matter. And I know that Clemson has been getting a lot better. But trying to argue that just because Florida State lost to 2 teams we just beat means that we're going to beat them, that is the very thing that our team needs to avoid, because it is easy to fall into that mindset. But I'll tell you this, in Tallahassee Saturday night, I truly believe, whether the place is a sellout or not, I didn't look at that Clemson is going to face a team who started off really high. And they just lost a close one. And the week before that, they lost by 10 points. And they're licking their wounds. And so they're tired of hearing about losing for, 6 straight matches with Clemson. And they don't want number 7. They don't want lost 3 in a row. And then all of a sudden, the season seems to not matter. I am just telling you, folks. I think that they're going to fight, and I think they're going to fight hard. So here's. Let me get down to this. What's the keys to the game for each team? First of all, Florida State. I think you need to play a fast game. With our defensive line coming back fully staffed, and we're getting more of our secondary back, I'm telling you, you need to exploit that 6'7" matchup with any corner that we have. I would throw it up. You're not expected to win this ball game, so why not throw the kitchen sink at Clemson? I would play quick tempo. Now, I know that when you're playing a quick tempo game like that if you're not moving the ball, you're just quickly 3 and out. I get that. Even though I know you have some team speed, I just don't think that you have the total package to slow things down. I think you do need to go fast, and what happens, happens. But I would exploit that matchup of 6'7" versus what, 6'1" at best. I would do that. Next up, with your defense, you're going to have to play tight on the receivers. The DJ at the beginning of the season was not the DJ that you're going to play right now. And unless something has happened in the past 6 days, you are going to face a different DJ. A DJ that you've never played. This guy is money now. He has been fixed, whatever that is. And our running game, it has really developed. And we're a balanced team. We're really a balanced team. You're going to have to pick how to slow them down, how to frustrate DJ, try to confuse him. Because I really believe in our offensive line. It's not great, but it's getting better week in and week out. Your defensive line is going to have to create something, because between our running and our passing abilities, you have your hands full. So if you have the chance to intercept a pass or bat a pass down or rip the football, create a turnover, that's where you're going to have the opportunity. But if Clemson comes out, and I'm going to switch to Clemson out. If Clemson comes out and you take care of the football, you limit your penalties, and you're giving DJ time to throw, and the receivers are doing what they've been doing, and we're seeing growth out of Ngata, I mean, you have one of the best running backs in the country. Just ride that. Don't make things too tough. On the defensive side, do take Florida State seriously. They're going to go to Johnny Wilson. If they don't, shame on them. But don't get caught into a mindset of, we've got this. You don't have it. You've got to work for every bit of it. You're 6-0. You still have half the season to go. And then after that, if everything goes well, you'll be in the ACC championship. Everything goes well there, you'll be in the college football playoff. You've got to develop a game-in, game-out mentality of excellence. And this is a game that to you might seem a little underwhelming, but to Florida State, there's a lot more riding on the line, so they're going to fight harder. So you can't come out and have busted coverage. You can't come out and miss an assignment. And especially with 6'7" Johnny Wilson, you're going to have to get tough. And that's the keys to the game. My final score prediction, I think that Clemson's going to win somewhere in the 24-27 to 14 range. I really see our offense moving the ball a lot more than what a lot of people think. I do think Florida State's going to get 14, maybe even 17 points, but I think Clemson scores 24 to 27 points, and they'll win 7 to 10 points. And I think for Florida State, even though they don't want to see a third loss, that would be respectable. Now, I just say we're on upset alert this week, and we need to take the game very serious. Well, listen, once again, I thank you for joining me here. Hit the subscribe button and pass along to anyone who likes to talk Clemson football or college football. I'm Brian Knight, and this is not Bobby Durkins. Go Tigers.